left, right.
Yo, what's up, mi amigos? Been waiting forever to get a red light so I can record this video. This is one of my favorite episodes. We're talking about, this is two parts, how to piss off a bartender, or more importantly, how not to piss off your bartender. And two, and this is a cool concept, skills that you thought were universal that not everybody understands or knows. So, listen to them. Let us know what we missed and let us know your favorites. All right, I will see you on the other end. This is SipTalk. Grab a drink and enjoy.
Cross this film.
Cheers.
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 All right, looks like we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the internet. This is episode 124 of your favorite podcast, SipTalk. My name is Justin DiGiulio, out of my basement in New Jersey, joined from above by David Boswell, political scientist, and joined below, if you're watching live, by James, the Bosnitter Boswell, accountant, professional referee, professional bartender, and what's that other thing you do?
Philosopher?
Oh, yeah. That's the important one right there. That's really the perspective you bring to the table that we can't
Yeah,
discount.
that's what everyone sees is on.
Yeah, we don't want to discount your mind and how it philosophizes. What are you guys drinking?
Well, you can't tell, but it is a White Russian.
I
Made
can't
with real
tell.
Russians.
I can't tell, but I'll take your word for it. James, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Bush Ice, and I got some gin on the rocks.
Oh, very nice. All right. I got a little of this Hibiki left. I'm going to pour a little Hibiki in a second. I was chilling in the house this afternoon all by myself, waiting for these contractors to arrive to handle this kitchen. And I heard this giant, it sounded like something fell on the house. I couldn't figure out what it was. I investigated the entire house. Nothing was on the floor. I'm like, what the fuck was that giant crashing noise? And then I just went to grab some drinks for the podcast. And one of these seltzers had exploded and blown the mini fridge door all the way open. There was lemon lime seltzer all over the place. So, and it was in the basement, Either way, that's what's happening. So we got some cool stuff we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, I liked your idea. Maybe you could summarize it. I don't know exactly what you would call it, James.
Skills that you thought were universal that you were surprised weren't.
Cool. And we got that and things not to do to avoid pissing off a bartender.
I know what Derv's number one response is.
So the question is, where do we start? Do we start with the pissing off the bartender? Or do we start with the not so universal skills?
Derv's going to start by pissing off the bartender.
All right. Well, I think that's something we need to address, actually, right?
Sure.
That needs to be number one. James is still defending, and David, you were with him. We didn't, and when I
no, he's very much against me on this.
When
he was accompanying you to his dismay in the moment when you ordered this super not complicated, never heard of cocktail. And then you felt that it needed to be, you were upset that they didn't know it, and David was upset that you ordered it to begin with.
I wasn't upset that I didn't know it.
No, you knew, and that's why I was upset that you ordered it in the first place, because you knew that there's a low probability you'd get it. What did the bartender say, which made you look like an idiot?
You're like, this is not that kind of place. Something like
He said, no, I'm sorry, I don't have a blender.
Oh, yeah, which is the wrong answer.
It is, but it made you look like you wanted a blended drink at an Italian restaurant which serves food, which did not have a cocktail bar kind of feel to it whatsoever. Which brings us to Justin's point is, if you're at a cocktail bar, sure, order. They should know it.
Well,
but that's not the time or place.
But that's the thing. And also depending on the cocktail bar, if you want to wait 24 minutes. Oh, shit, sir. Hang on. All right. I got to mute you guys. don't know if you guys can hear me, but we got some Facebook overlap here with the audio. I'm gonna blame Rashed, but it's really my fault. So on that note, though, one of the things about ordering complex cocktails from bars is it takes a lot of time and energy to make a complex cocktail. So I don't know about the market that you guys are in, but my thinking is if the cocktail costs $18 or more, you can pretty much order whatever you'd like. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Depends on the kind of bar. If the bartender says, well, just tell me what kind of flavors you like, and then they go on their own volition and do something that takes them 10 minutes.
Sure.
I mean, that's on them.
I look at it as you always have to judge how busy the bar is. Like, it doesn't matter how complicated the drink is. Like, if you can tell that the bartenders are super slammed, don't order anything complicated.
Well, typically, if the place is predominantly a restaurant, I feel, unless it's got like a sick bar, and you could tell like whoever designed the restaurant paid a lot of attention to the bar. But for the most part, if it's like a restaurant, the people working in the bar a lot of times, unless the bar gets a good crowd, a lot of times, these people are not going to be your bartending as a preferred profession, people who are enthusiastic about it.
Somewhere like Charleston Hall's Chop House, you can order whatever the heck you want. They're supposed to know pretty much everything. And for that quality of a restaurant, I think you're allowed to order Hemingway Daiquiri.
Yeah, and also like at Hall's Chop House, which is known primarily for their food, their bar is also always slammed. Why? Because it's just a well-run place that's popular.
How much are the cocktails there?
Probably, I would imagine that their actual cocktails probably start at $12 or $13.
Is that high price for Charleston?
For Charleston, it's mid to high price.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say it's
like
mid for Charleston.
A $13 cocktail?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so Hall's is a high tier restaurant in Charleston, arguably one of the best in Charleston. So I wouldn't be surprised if most of their actual cocktails are probably 15 plus. I don't know.
Okay, no. So I got all right. I'm looking at their drink menu right here. You got the 434, which I'm guessing is probably their street address. You got the hot pepper martini. I don't know how I feel about that. The blood orange margarita. I would go with that. Sangria. It is what it is. The barrel aged Manhattan. That's $14. The spiced Russian, which is a chai tea Russian, 14. The new old fashioned, 15. And Hall's old fashioned, which has the hard to find Maker's Mark, or and that's $20.
Very rare. $20, my God.
And that's $20. I wonder. Well, they're putting Elijah Craig in the new old fashioned, and they're putting Maker's Mark in the Hall's old fashioned.
I actually think Elijah Craig is better.
I was.
Yeah. How much is the new old fashioned?
But neither one actually.
Wouldn't it just be the fashioned?
The new old fashioned is $15. The Hall's old fashioned is $20. But you can get the Hall's old fashioned with rum instead of whiskey.
That actually sounds interesting.
They muddle their cherries. So I don't know how I'm feeling about those drinks down there. I wouldn't muddle my cherry.
Well, so here's another thing to consider about like some of these high-end cocktail bars is you might be seeing a drink that looks super complicated, but a lot of those drinks are going to be done with premix. Now, that's not going to be like store-bought premix, but like when the bartenders show up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they are doing premixes of a lot of these cocktails. So instead of having to mix together 5 or 6 different ingredients into it, they'll have a bottle that's pre-mixed for that cocktail, and then all they need to do is put in the ice of the fresh ingredients. So it might be that a cocktail is super complicated and requires a lot of prep, but a lot of these cocktail bars will do that prep before the shift starts.
Yeah, exactly. So, my thinking was you got to look at their drink menu and see if it seems to indicate a certain level of skill. Obviously, I still think you have to have a level of skill, even if it is pre-made. But I don't know, just the whole idea of ordering off menu you got to be really careful. And then if you get something that's really lousy, how upset can you be when it's not on their menu?
Well,
But
I
also,
guess
hold up. That is one of the things about being a bartender. What's that movie with Tom Cruise and Cocktail? And right off the bat, it's his first night at the bar, and they're ordering Sex on the Beach. They're ordering Cuba Libre. All this
Sex on the
stuff.
Beach. Every bartender should know.
He was a brand new bartender. First, he was trying to get a job, and finally he flips out on the waitress. He's like,
What the hell's a Cuba Libre?
It's a rum and coke. Why the hell didn't you just say rum and coke? So but there's an element of bartending that I guess is kind of part of being a bartender, that there's a certain amount of territory that you just you got to kind of act on the fly, have a little bar book behind the bar. That's always a good trick. Now you can do it with the computer.
Yeah, there would be plenty of times where somebody would order a cocktail that I hadn't heard before, and then I would look up recipes and make sure that we had the ingredients and that I would make it. And usually what I would do is I would look at recipes and I'd look at like 3 or 4 different variations and kind of like average them in my mind to get what I thought. One thing I've always wanted to do to mess with the bartender is to start off my night by ordering a Sex on the Beach, and then for like my second drink, order a Blood and Sand.
First off, Sex on the Beach is a common drink.
So is Blood and Sand.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Trying to make this joke have traction for what 7 years now.
It's not a good joke. All right, so let's hit this list of ways to piss off a bartender, or basically things to avoid to not piss off a bartender. Any what do you guys think is number one? Because I read this in multiple cases. Any idea on the most common?
Most common thing that annoys bartenders?
Oh, complain about the price? Oh, yeah.
Who the fuck snaps their fingers at people?
Lots of people.
That's fucking weird.
How to behave in a bar? Hold on, James's segment. How to behave in a bar. A skill that you thought most people would have, but is surprisingly uncommon.
True. No, there's nothing wrong with like if you're standing at a busy bar or whatever, like putting your hand up and just having your hand a little bit extended to say like, hey, when you get a chance, I want attention. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that I agree with you. But the snapping of the fingers is just, it's a bit like almost condescending.
If people did that, I ignored them. I wouldn't serve them until they stopped.
It's not a bit condescending. It's very patronizing.
Yeah.
All right, let's say hi to Lisa over here on TikTok. And restaurants are mixing drinks. I agree. Let love reign. A signature drink is smart. Separate tabs for a big group, she says. And cheap tips. Those are things that would piss off a bartender.
So, the only thing, like, I never mind splitting checks, but what I hated is like if I had a group ordering all sorts of stuff together, and then at the very end, and like they didn't make it clear like who was getting what or whatever, and then at the end they wanted me to do the work splitting it up for them. Like if it's really clear, like, hey, he's getting this and I'm getting this, then I'll just start running 2 tabs immediately. But like just let me know ahead of time so I can run multiple tabs. But if I've got like 20 or 25 drinks and food items and something on a tab, like I don't have the time to go back and try and remember who got what. What I would do is I just print off the whole receipt and I'd say, you guys tell me how you want me to split it up. You do the work.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. But yeah, one of the things, 2 of the things here are negotiating with your party over the tab, especially when you're involving the bartender or the waiter, and then also negotiating the bill with the bartender. That's one that pisses people off.
No,
why would you ever involve the waiter or bartender in your internal negotiations? Why would you ever try to bargain on the tab? That's
I don't set the prices as a bartender.
No, yeah, but like, hey, could you take this off there? It wasn't really good, or we had to that, and people rightfully so, they can make a compelling argument to try to get a little back on that, and people do. But
if you want something taken off, you need to send it back to me immediately. You can't drink it and then have it taken off. If I made a drink that you don't like, after the first sip, you say, hey, this just doesn't taste right, send it back to me and I'll either remake it or I'll take it off the tab. But if you've drank all of it, well, you got your money's worth.
Yeah, I, because of my business, go out for drinks pretty often. Not because we're in real estate, just because everybody in my business is an alcoholic. So we go out for drinks pretty often. We stick around the bar, 5, 6, 8, 10 drinks. And by the time the bill comes, everybody's usually pretty blitzed and the bill's usually pretty big. The general rule would be we just pretty much split it. And if you're not down at the beginning to split it, then you need to speak up and say, I'm ordering on a separate tab.
Well, that's fair as long as everyone is drinking about the same and the same quality of stuff. But like if you know that everyone's splitting the tab and you're ordering $20 cocktails where everybody else is having $5 beers, you're a dick.
Yes, that would make you a dick. And that's why the general rule is, not to order the steak. Well, especially like on a business dinner or something like that. Or if you're not the one paying the bill. And if you're splitting the bill, same thing goes. But if you're not the one paying the bill, you don't order something more expensive than everybody else. We went out to, I told you, Tuesday night, we had to push back the podcast. We went out to the Yankee Stadium and we got basically, what did I say, like 6 of these giant tomahawk steaks. And they actually gave us 7 because one was supposed to be medium rare and it was like super well done. And I think they took it off the bill and they left it at the table, which is kind of cool, except
it's not like they're going to resell it. So the server looks at it as this is already gone. Like I'll get a better tip because they feel like they got a little bit more food.
Yeah, I was pretty excited that they left it with us. And then I tried a piece and was like, can't do it. Can't do it. I don't get it.
How much was each steak?
That wasn't obnoxious. Maybe 65 or $85 or something.
You said it wasn't obnoxious?
It was a tomahawk steak.
Okay.
I can do a whole tenderloin for 12 people for $90 with sauces.
Well, I just got these at the grocery store a couple of 4th of July weekend, and they were $45 a steak for the tomahawk steaks, and arguably they were actually better than the ones at the Yankee Steakhouse.
Shit, they weren't overcooked.
No, High Val area, and also K Costa says God's not dead; he's always alive. Okay.
All right, so let me.
And Jessica says screwdriver is a drink, which
when made with fresh orange juice, that is an amazingly good drink.
Well, that's just because fresh orange juice is good in practically anything.
Exactly. It's
Just
an
don't
amazing
make
cocktail with fresh orange juice.
Don't mix it with dairy.
All right, so here I got the menu from the Yankee Stadium. The New York Yankee signature ribeye, $85 for a 27-ounce USDA prime, dry aged, long bone ribeye.
I don't care if the bone is long or short. I'm not eating the bone. Why is that a selling point?
Yeah.
All right, so let me hit the next one. Ordering.
Adam wants in.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, Adam. I believe I just got a FaceTime call from Michael. My guess is Adam and Michael are hanging out at the bar, watching us. And
so they're gonna like test how to annoy the bartender in real time for us.
So actually, yeah, they're actually, the bartender is pretty cool. She's a great bartender. She was actually like experimenting making drinks the other night, and she gave us some of these drinks, which is really cool. But Rosh, if you want to DM him the call-in link, you certainly can. We're not going to let them FaceTime in though from the bar. They can tell us what they're drinking. Actually, if they want to call in and let us know what they're drinking, I would love for that. All right. Ordering complex drinks when the bar is packed, because drinks, the one that I got was a mojito. That people don't understand that making a mojito isn't a super fast drink. I mean, it can be relatively fast if your bar is ready for that.
Still, no, it's one of the slowest drinks to make because you have to muddle the ingredients. It's like a 3-step process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was the one that I kept seeing ordering mojito when the bar is packed. Like
unless it's a mojito bar.
Sure. But the bar that I think that Adam and Michael are at actually mojito is like one of their signature drinks. But if you're at a bar after 11 o'clock at night and you're ordering like specialty cocktails, you're a bit full of yourself, in my opinion. You probably shouldn't be tasting much at that point. Just get a Jack and Coke, vodka, vodka tonic, something like that. All right, here's another one. Calling female bartenders hun and sweetie.
But they get to call me hun and sweetie.
Yeah, it doesn't work the other way around. It doesn't work the other way around. The thing is, people.
Can I call male bartenders hun or sweetie?
Depends on the establishment.
All right.
But there's a thing about working in like retail or the service industry where you're not treated like a person. You're treated like a cog in a wheel type of. You know, it's a weird. It's a weird thing that people just don't treat you like another human being, and I always think that's the same. Like you wouldn't snap at your friend or something like that. You shouldn't be snapping at a bartender. Maybe you would. I don't know.
I'll snap at my roommate's cat.
Exactly. You'd snap at a dog or a cat. So here's one: not tipping on to-go orders. So
Now I can understand tipping less on a to-go order.
Yes. I would understand that too. It's actually something I've thought about and kind of decided against. But now that I've learned that it's typically the bar staff that has to put that order together, and
Was when I was working.
They're taking time away from attending bar and making money that way to
like
to service.
Even
your
if it's
order,
just
really.
like putting together the utensils and putting the boxes and stuff together and bagging it up and getting the receipt or whatever, by the time you're done with that, that's 2 or 3 minutes that you've burned. And if you're busy, 2 or 3 minutes is an eternity.
Yeah. I mean, that's money.
Also,
lost.
the math is different over the last year and a half with the pandemic too, because the people who are there working, they're the ones who aren't getting the unemployment checks. They're the ones who do need the tip. So if you're in a position that you can afford to go eat out during the pandemic when everything was shut down, you should still be tipping the same way it was previously, because come on, it helps them stay in business, and what's the extra 5% to you, really?
No, I agree. I've increased my tips on to-go orders in the last year. But that said, like if I'm sitting down, I'm probably tipping 25 or 30% at least, whereas I'm tipping like 15 or 20% on to-go orders. But that's up from like 10 to 15.
Well, what are your thoughts on increasing the salaries, the hourly wages for people in formerly tipped out positions?
Do it.
Great idea.
You're all for it.
Do you know what the minimum wage is for a server in South Carolina?
I do.
$2.50 an hour.
You're over.
You're close.
I'm over
37 by about 10 to 15%.
Yeah, $2.13.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I do think that's very, very low. I definitely think it should come up. I don't think
you're basically working 100% for tips, because that $2.13 goes towards your taxes and then not even.
And that's yes, that's my thinking, is that we should still keep them as tipped workers, but we need to increase the wages to an actual amount that's going to buy you anything at all, right? Like $2 is to get you literally nowhere in this world. So if you have a slow,
there's an interesting little town hall Biden did with I think it was CNN's Don Lemon. And he started asked about, well, hey, what about the worker shortage in restaurants? And he said, well, maybe you guys need to start paying them more, because you have a worker shortage and they're seeing that there are better jobs elsewhere that pay better and they don't have to work in a kitchen. So if you want workers, pay more. And he got attacked by Republicans for that, but it's true. If you want workers, pay them more. $10 an hour doesn't cut it when you're standing for 10 hours in the kitchen, getting cut, getting burned, getting sweaty, going home smelling like grease.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it doesn't cut it.
It's simple economics where, like, supply and demand. Right now, there's a high supply of jobs and low demand. So if you want to increase demand, you have to increase price.
Yes, and unfortunately, any percentage of $2.13 an hour still isn't you're not.
Well, kitchen staff's not paid that. Kitchen staff isn't tipped, so they get. I think in Charleston, most line cooks are probably making between like 13 and 15 an hour. Which, when you consider, it's gone up a little bit recently, but like even still, for the demands of that job, because one, it's skilled work.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Two, it's physically and mentally demanding.
Yeah, it's very intense work. Let's hit Kyle's comment, and I do want to add before we get off of this topic, just tipping poorly in general.
Yeah.
That will piss off a bartender, and if they're lucky enough to recognize you, and you're unlucky enough to be recognized by them the next time you go, you're probably getting, rightfully so, pretty lousy service. Kyle Lehman says, pissed at the server or the bartender that your order is wrong. Well, I think that's a case by case. A lot of times it's not on them, but often I think there's a decent amount of time where it could be, especially if they're not writing down it's a weird thing when
I don't think that there's ever a time where it's okay to be pissed off at the server bartender that your order is wrong. They're human beings. You can say, hey, my order is wrong. If then they start to get pissy with you saying, no, this is correct, then you can get a little annoyed. But on
hold
the
up,
first go.
But and I get what you're saying, to be pissed off at anybody for making a mistake. But remember, you could have been waiting there forever. You could be super hungry. There could have been a long wait. And the waiter or somebody could have taken that order down wrong. And I'm not saying like pissed, like you shouldn't be furious, but to be a bit perturbed and be like, I thought I was pretty clear on this.
It really depends on there are certain things that as a server you need to do when you're taking an order to make sure that you're getting it right. So like you need to be interviewing your table if there's any uncertainty. Like if they ask about certain things, then that should cue you in to make sure that you're getting this order right. Like if someone says like, I've got a nut allergy or something, and then they order a dish that might have nuts in it or something, or like somebody else at the table orders something with nuts in it, you might want to ask like, are you planning on sharing that with anybody? Because like, even if like the menu doesn't say that there's nuts in the dish, that's something that like you might want to say, hey, there's nuts in that one. Are you planning on sharing it? Do I need to modify this order at all? Like you have to be thorough as a server to avoid that. So it can go both ways. Servers can fail to do their job by not explaining properly.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do think there's some instances where they might be responsible and other instances where they may not be. But being enraged is a huge overreaction.
No,
always give them a chance to correct the issue.
And that's why I think we're reading into the word pissed. I mean, you're talking internally. Sure, you can be internally perturbed and like not happy with the situation, but you still have to go and like, don't be a dick. Like James said, like, hey guys, sorry, I asked for like the cheeseburger and this is a chicken sandwich. Would you mind? And like, yeah, okay, I'm so sorry about that. They're gonna deal with this because you said
they need to lobby the kitchen to get your food back fast.
They do,
right?
They do.
Because everybody else is eating. So
give everyone the second chance.
If I was a nice person and then like literally by the time my food came, everybody else had finished their food.
That would be uncool.
That happened to me a couple of weeks ago when we went to STK. One, the drinks were absolutely horrible. I was trying to coach the waitress what to tell the bartender to make these drinks. And they were just, I think we had an old fashioned that was shaken and just kind of looked like lightly rusted water. And I was like, on a cup full of ice. So there's maybe half a shot of liquor in there. It was not a good drink. And then the food came out all screwed up. We got extra sides. They forgot an entree. I don't know who to blame on that one, but and then by the time that entree came out, everybody had finished eating. It was just, I think it was, it was obviously the waitress's fault, but it wasn't her fault that she had so many tables. She was basically the only waitress for the second floor. So we kind of gave her the benefit of the doubt. We didn't take it out.
And that's the case where you see if you can't find like the front end service manager, the front end manager who's like, hey, what happened here? But I don't think you ever take it out on the waitress or the lower. You always go up and go to the manager and explain yourself quietly. And it wasn't me.
All right, let's hit the next one. Requesting to have the TV channel changed at a bar.
If it's a sports bar and no one's watching it, go for it.
I think it really depends on the place, but I imagine it is an instance where it's not a sports bar and there just happens to be a TV and the bartender is busy doing other shit. And so
if I wasn't busy, I never minded changing the channel for people.
But my thinking is it's really how you ask, right? That's and also with the what's the word I'm looking for? Shit. It's just how you ask, really. That's all it comes down to it.
Demeanor.
Yeah. And then not closing your tab at the bar before being seated. Now, I always try, and sometimes I say, no, we'll transfer it. That's one thing. But a lot of times, you've had 2, 3, maybe you've had 2 drinks at the bar, but you're with 4 people, so that's 8 drinks. Typically, that bartender will be making the tips on, and now you get seated, and you just expect the new waiter to take over that the tab from the bar.
It all depends on whether or not the bar shares tips or not.
But you're not going to know that shit when you walk into a restaurant. So you need to ask to close your tab before you just walk away from the bar.
Yeah, and chances are if they say, yeah, we'll just transfer it to your table, that means that restaurant's pooling tips.
Exactly. All right, let's see what else I have. Not closing tab before. This came up a few times. Ripping up coasters and straw wrappers.
Yeah, don't make a mess at the bar. Like,
but my thing is, like, what are you, a child?
I've seen it happen.
You fucking kid that you're leaving a mess. Like you're leaving
James's subject of life skills you thought people had, but are surprised to find they don't. Again, how people behave out in public, I guess it's just like a very standard.
Well, it's really weird because I have an office. I had an office that's full of independent contractors, right? And there's nobody picking up behind them. Every once in a while, somebody will like overfill the shredding machine, and then like the top pops off, and then the shredded paper goes all over the place. And they're like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Well, just clean it up." Like, no. Well, you
should say like, you should put more paper into it. That'll solve it.
Do you want me to call your mom? Like, and then this happens. It's happened not a lot, but it's happened probably 4, 5, 6 times. They clean it up and they do such a bad job that I have to like say, hey, it didn't look like this before you made the mess. Like there's still, how do we get it back to the condition it was before it's like the camping thing, you shouldn't leave a evidence that you were there. And there's like just shit all over the place. And I get it if it's like you don't
if you're camping for long enough, that'll happen.
Well, shit all over the place. You're supposed to dig a hole and bury it.
Yeah.
I think Raj is Googling this in the background because this is
Raj said, I worked in restaurants. I can tell you that when you send your food back, there's a chance that someone spits on your plate in the back of the kitchen. First of all, when I worked in restaurants, I never saw that happen.
I would not.
There were times that we wanted to. If you were being a huge dick, we really wanted to, but we never did.
Same.
And then what Raj just said, and this is a little further down on my list. Putting your fat, disgusting, greasy sausage fingers on the complimentary peanuts bowl or dish that's being shared with other people in the bar. Actually, that wasn't what I thought he was going to say. I thought Raj was going to say reaching over and grabbing from the garnish containers.
No, you don't do that. But if you need to reach over to grab like a napkin or something, I think that's okay.
Yeah, I would completely agree with grabbing something out of the garnish containers.
No, you don't do that. You don't touch the garnish tray. That's the bartender's, not yours.
Yeah, you're like invading somebody else's like kind of personal area. And also if you're doing it with your bare hands, that's kind of unsanitary and not fair for the rest of the people at the bar. It's kind of gross. Raj, that's what I thought you were saying. But
no, if they're putting out complimentary peanut bowls, one, don't eat them at a bar. Ew, just don't. That's on you, man. Like that's not.
You decided to roll the dice in the first place.
But my favorite bar in the city, James, we've been there. I don't know if they did this when you were there, but the first few years when they were open, they had popcorn. And they
Harlem Public?
Yeah, they give every table a little.
Or the Wallace, because I like the Wallace better.
Well, the Wallace wasn't. Harlem Public was the original one up there. Wallace is like a bit of a spinoff, but Harlem Public used to have this popcorn machine, and every table they'd give you a bowl of popcorn, and they have bowls of popcorn in the bar. There was typically enough that everybody could have their own, so you wouldn't be sharing with random strangers. But what Rosh is saying is it's a shared. You don't see many peanuts on the bar anymore. That's
especially not in the last year.
No, well,
but Justin's right. Even before, when did you really see that last? You see it at Five Guys, but at least they're shelled. And
yeah.
Last time I showed up drunk there, they weren't very happy about it. All four of them.
Yeah, you shouldn't have been ordering drinks at Five Guys.
Do they serve beer at Five Guys?
No, that's
Well, some of those places do. So, Shake Shack gives you beer. Ripping up.
is it shaken?
Not usually. Maybe if it's delivered. Asking for free drinks. I think you got to have like some audacity to ask the bartender for free drinks. I went to Harlem Public for years and years and years. They never gave me a single free shot or a single free drink or hooked me up on the bill ever. And then it was when Adam and I started. Once Adam moved to the neighborhood, we started going together. Then they throw us a shot or something like that. It was actually really cool. But for a long, long time, they never gave me anything. And
you
I
get a
didn't-
straw from the Honeywell yet?
No, I didn't. And I never expected that they would give me something, but there would be no way I would have the audacity to be like, I come here all the time. Can I have a free shot once in a while? That's like, what?
Foreign concept.
And then reaching over the bar into the garnish bins, which is disgusting because you just don't have clean fingers, no matter how
And if you do that, I'm gonna have to dump that garnish tray.
well.
And I'm gonna charge you for it $5.
No, I'm serious. Like, if I never had that happen to me while I was bartending, but if like I had a patron reach into the garnish tray, like whatever they touched, I'm dumping, and I'm getting new garnishes for what, like new olives or cherries or whatever. Because it's one thing for me to do it. I'm washing my hands. Basically, anytime I touch something, I wash my hands. I pour a beer, I wash my hands. I make a drink, I wash my hands. I bust dishes, I wash my hands. I put something in the dishwasher, I wash my hands.
But
I probably wash my hands 100 to 200 times every night.
Yeah, but there's a good chance people who are eating their food lick their fingers clean, so that a lot of good chemicals in your mouth that antibacterial. Actually, nowadays everybody slathers that antibacterial shit on their hands, which
Which do you want your olive to taste like Purell?
Yes.
I don't even.
Well, actually, if you're ordering a vodka martini, you basically are.
Yeah, I agree completely. And then there's complaining, just general complaining, which I think would be pretty annoying. And now here's one which I thought was funny: asking for the usual. I'll have my usual.
Well, if you're there all the time, because like I had a couple customers that came in 2 or 3 times a week and always ordered the exact same thing.
Sure.
And so like when he sat down, I'd just be like, the usual, and he's like, yeah. Or sometimes you'd be like,
that, you're missing. You're telling him you're the bartender in this scenario. When it's coming from the patron saying, I'll have my usual, then it doesn't work that way. Now, if you and him have established via you that it's their usual, he can say yes. But if somebody walks in and it's not been pre-established that that's the usual, you can't do that.
I guess, I don't know.
I think that it depends on your relationship with the bartender.
But if the bartender has expressed to you that they know that's your usual, but if you just assume,
if the bartender knows you by your first name, odds are they know what you usually order. If you order something different every time, then you're an idiot for saying the usual. But if you always order the same thing and they know your first name, no, there's nothing wrong with that. It depends on the situation. If you've been there once and you ordered something stupid, or it's a different bartender.
I'll get the usual. Raj said it reminds him of the TV show Cheers, which is literally exactly what I thought.
Although when I was training bartenders at the place, when some of my regulars came in, either during the time that the regular were there or afterwards, I'd say, that's Justin. He always gets this.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So that way, like, even if I'm not there, the other bartender will know what Justin's usual drink is.
I got another one for you. Taking up the spaces next to you with your crap, like your jacket or your purse or your backpack. That's a no-no.
Depends on how busy it is. If it's even remotely busy.
It obviously depends on how busy it is. But if it is busy, even remotely, just like you said, you're taking money out of that, potentially taking money out of the bartender's pockets. And since we already
Kyle Lehman has a good one, asking for a taste of every beer they have on tap.
I'm okay with you asking for a taster up until about 3.
Yeah, this is every beer on tap. Imagine the Ruck in Troy that has like 24 taps.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No. Like I'm setting limitations here. We're saying like obviously asking for a taste of everything on tap's ridiculous, but asking for a taster is completely fine.
I think 3 is a bit high.
That's my limit.
The way it needs to be is you're kind of troubleshooting, right? Like, oh, do you like something that's I don't know, that's light and crisp or something like that. All right, so look, we have a call in from Adam. Let's. So we believe Adam to be at a bar and being pretty hammered, but we're gonna let him. We're gonna see what he's gonna say. I'm gonna buzz him in here.
Also, while we're waiting on that, Kyle says, "What do you think I should get?" And that depends, because like if I'm slow in a bar, then I don't really mind it because like I'll say, "Okay, what are you in the mood for?" And it'll give me a chance to flex my bartending muscles. But if
All
I'm
right.
busy, I don't want to have to read your mind.
All right, line
I
one.
understand that.
Line one. What's up, Adam?
What's going on, man? How we doing?
Let me guess. You're at a Havana bar in Midtown.
I am. I just had a really great Cubano sandwich at Havana on 38th Street. Probably the best I've ever had in the city. And I'm sitting here with a couple of colleagues. I'm sitting here with John, and we also have Michael on the line as well.
Tell Janet I said hi.
I certainly will. She's keeps trying to feed us shots tonight. I don't know what's going on here.
I hope she's charging you for them.
I don't know if she is.
You'll find out.
So what I want to
Yeah,
know, and then we're kicking you guys off the line. There's a lot of background noise. What I want to know is what are you guys drinking over there? What's the drink of choice tonight?
I'm doing a Hendrix and soda with lime. And Michael, what are you doing? Michael's doing a rosé, and then we have John who's doing a mojito with that sugar cane that's actually dipped in there. It's like a straw. Yeah, it's pretty badass actually. Can you hear me, guys? Okay.
No, it's really bad, man. It's really bad.
I'm sorry.
So, but that's cool. I wish you guys a good evening. Tell the bartender I said hi, and don't get too fucked up. All right, we need you in the office tomorrow.
Fair enough. I'll have a good night, guys, and good talking to you both. All right.
All right, see you, man. See you later.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that background noise was unreal.
Yeah, no, it was pretty rough. No, we just dropped off. No, so there is this Cuban bar, Cuban restaurant around the corner from our office, and now that we're in a new location, we're trying to get our bearing with like what are the cool restaurants around. There's a German beer hall underneath the office, and that's pretty cool. It's super authentic German. They're playing German music. Sometimes it's just straight yodeling. Sometimes it's like German hard rock. Very, very strange because you don't get that anywhere else in New York City. We get Irish bars, but they're not playing Irish music. They're usually playing classic rock. But we got the German bar, and then we got this Cafe Havana place around the corner, which is cool. And the bartender, she's a nice woman, and she feeds drinks. So,
you want to move on to our second topic about skills that you thought were universal that aren't?
Yeah, let me just quick run through the rest of these. We don't have to get into them. Asking for the usual, taking up other space, other seats with your crap, getting upset when you get carded, thinking the bartender is into you, being overly flirtatious with the bartender.
They're paid to be nice to you.
Yeah, exactly. Being too drunk, and sending drinks back. So, and again, there's certain circumstances, some of these things would be all right. Certain circumstances, they may not be. All right. So these are skills that you thought everybody had. You thought these were universal skills, and you've learned at some point in your life that they are not. What do you guys have? I got a whole list.
Basic cooking skills.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that one, but you're right.
That's on my list. Basic cooking skills. What would be on the limits of basic cooking skills?
Cooking pasta correctly, dicing a potato, dicing an onion, knowing how to saute. Very basically, just don't burn the shit out of it. Like being able to caramelize some onions. That would be just a very basic test.
I would say caramelizing onions is about as high level as you can get under basic cooking skills.
Well, I think just not even like caramelizing to like Jack's stand. Remember Jack's Burgers? Not to like that level. Just like a 10-minute saute to get like a little bit of color on them, make them translate, sweat them.
But that's
Saute
kind
them
of
for a little
understanding. That's understanding how heat.
bit. Yeah, it's like basic cooking.
Yeah.
Not burn something, moderate heat, and how to salt and season things. Just basically, you don't have to get fancy with spices, but not super over salting, not under salting. Those are some of the basic things that sound easy but take a little bit of time. But I think those are basic cooking skills by every definition.
I had a friend in college who called me up one day and said, "Hey man, I'm trying to make pasta. How much water do I use?"
Obviously lacking basic cooking skills. All right, what else do you guys have here?
I'm gonna go with being able to swim.
That is also on my list. That and riding a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think those two go hand in hand, really, because those are things that, like, I don't know. I kind of blame your parents on that, and where you grew up, right? Like, you know, if you grew up in Middle America in an area where there's not many lakes nearby, you know, depending on where you are, access to a pool could be tough. But
I look at being able to swim as a life skill in the most literal sense.
no, exactly. Considering 70% of this planet is covered with water, you know, being able to swim is a life-saving skill.
Here's a really fun one, and James and I dealt with this at college because we had a very strong New Jersey contingent. How to pump your own gas.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, that's not even on my list. Oh, damn. Pump your own gas. I'm writing that into my list, even though this is towards the end of the podcast. But now I live in Jersey. Yeah, no, that's yeah, you can't pump your own gas here in Jersey.
I'm amazed that's still a thing.
It's I had to fill up some gas tanks for the lawnmowers the other day, a couple weeks ago, and the guy started it, and then I got out and just went over to the trunk and filled up the gas tanks, and then I put the nozzle back in. I threw the gas tanks in the back of my truck and drove away. I fucking forgot my credit card.
That's on you.
But I didn't put it in there, so the whole thing threw me off. I'm used to putting the card in there, because what they do is they take the card from you and they leave it in there until you're done pumping, rather than dip the card and hand it back to you. So the whole process, I mean, ultimately it is on me, and I could have come back to the gas station. Instead, I swallowed my pride there, and I ordered another one.
That's not swallowing your pride.
Well, no,
swallowing your pride would be going back and getting it.
Yeah,
this
no,
is
you're
just
right.
Totally eschewing it.
Yeah, this is
Fuck it.
I'm real. No, I there was a little while I was afraid American Express was going to stop replacing credit cards for me, because I was using them to break into apartments. Not break into apartments, but you know, when you don't have the key, you got to get in, you just slide the card. And so, all right, what else you guys have?
Shahir Abba says, "I thought 93 was a pump number."
Yeah, that's a little more advanced. I'll give it to you there. So I got I'm reading. I've learned some people can't read, which is a skill I kind of assumed everybody in 2021 had, but I think you would be surprised by people that can get by without actually being able to read.
Yo, Kyle's got a good one.
What's that?
Not knowing how to do your own laundry.
Oh yeah.
Is that on my list? I mean, I know how to do laundry. I just really try to avoid doing it as much as possible.
Look, you don't have to like it.
But yeah, that's knowing how to do your own laundry. If you grow up and your parents are just always doing your laundry, and now you're in college, you have to do your own laundry. That could be tough.
Everything in cold.
Oh, actually, on my list is universal skills you thought everyone had. The ability to know if you smell.
I mean, just basic hygiene.
But the fact that some people are just completely unaware of the fact that they fucking read.
No, I think this is a basic skill that some people are aware and just don't fucking care. I think you can lump those two groups together. You don't want to because that's going to smell really bad. But you could.
All right, and then I have whistling, which I'm always surprised by adults that can't whistle. You know, I'm not a great whistler, but I possess the skill to whistle. And I feel like it's kind of like if you realize as an adult there are some of these skills that you were lacking, you would go after, you would make it a priority to learn these skills. I have sense of direction.
GPS has completely undermined that.
But do you know which way is north right now?
Yeah.
That's north to me.
Yeah. That's north to me.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't have that skill, and I completely understand that. And especially with GPS, it's not a skill that you really need to use that much.
Because going along with that, like being able to read a map
reading as well. Yeah, we did a lot of map reading growing up, and even driving and hiking and things like that. Using a compass, but I'm not throwing using a compass into skills I thought.
No, that's not a universal skill. We grew up in the country where like we went to nature camps and they taught us how to do it.
Exactly.
In the same vein, I would say manual transmission driving, along with reading a map, of like we all can, but we grew up.
Yeah, that's a biased view on our points.
Yeah, but we're not. We're not calling it a universal skill, but we are calling it something that you should treat like it's something that you need to know. Then I have handshake, which you would just kind of think intrinsically everybody, would possess this ability. But I shake a lot of hands, even through coronavirus, and I get some really weird handshakes.
Shahir Abba says, rolling your R's.
I can't do it. I
can't do
Russian, it. Took Russian, and I've studied Spanish, and I am completely incapable.
I wasn't aware that Russians rolled their R's.
Fuck yeah. They're like, I can't do it.
then they're not like that.
It was me imitating them without being able to do it. That was what happened.
MJ says writing checks.
Yeah, that's hilarious. He's so right.
I saw somebody on a train yesterday, and she had a checkbook, like balance log, and that's how she was keeping track of her balance.
Kyle says putting air in tires. Remember the time that we inflated the tires on your Volvo to like 80?
I think it said like the minimum and maximum that the tire can.
It's like 35.
And we drove home and the car drove like complete crap.
And it sounded like the wheels were made out of rocks.
Well,
I didn't realize they would sound differently. But they indeed did sound.
Thankfully, it was only a 3/4 of a mile trip home.
Still never guaranteed in the Volvo.
Oh my god! The Volvo ran strong, man.
Until the turbo went out and it couldn't make it up on the market.
Yeah, I crashed that car a few times. Yeah, it was that was a good run that car had. I really enjoyed. That was a fast car. It was a good car. It just, got beat up.
Well, I remember when we were delivering papers and you had the blinkers on, and then you said, you know what, we're just going to leave the blinkers on the entire time we're driving. That way we don't have to signal. We're signaling left, we're signaling right. Everyone knows where we're going.
I got riding a bike, swimming, ability to know if you smell. Here's one: seeing color.
It's not a skill.
Hold on, I got one.
Well, it may not be a skill, but it's something that you assume without thinking about it that everyone can do, and not everyone can do it. So, all right, James, go ahead.
Growing a full head of hair.
Oh, I mastered that skill. I am beyond that skill.
He just gave it up.
Let's see. Setting a table. A lot of people can't set a table.
Like properly, according to etiquette of the things in order.
It's something like that.
Like something that Miss Manners would approve of, or like something that's passable?
I will give you fork, knife, spoon, plate, and glass. and a nap.
Do they have to be in order?
Yeah.
They have to be in the right position.
Yeah, I give myself 50.
Well, I get it. Like, yeah, the plate isn't going to be on top of the cup, but like the silverware would be next to in any order. Like
You building things?
spoon and fork, knife and fork, spoon. Does it matter what the order of operations is for the silverware? If like the plate's here, the cup's here.
Is it the
silverware.
knife opposite the fork and the spoon? Is that the right answer?
No.
Okay. Well, then I failed.
Who cares?
It's the fork is opposite the knife and the spoon. All right. Let's next. I got another one for you. Solo travel.
Yeah, a lot of people can't handle that.
It's very intense for some people to be traveling solo. Which
Hold on, I've got one that's near and dear to my heart. Boarding and deboarding an airplane quickly.
Well, only takes a few people to fuck it up.
I wouldn't.
Speaking of airplanes, I have to interrupt here. On my flight for training with my boss before he left 2 months ago, was on a flight with a gentleman who's 28, 29, his first flight. That's interesting. 28, 29 years old, first time.
I don't know if that's necessarily his fault.
I'm not saying it is.
No,
it's an outlier.
The thing is, if you're 28 years old and you haven't flown before, so that's not normal. All right. And at 28, that is your fault. Right. At 18, it becomes something that can be considered your fault. And then you got a couple of years where you're like becoming a regular, real person. But at a certain point in time, I will say between 22 and 28, there you are fully to blame, and there's really no way around that. And I'm not. You may not have a reason to travel other than traveling. That may be the reason. This is something I haven't done. Everybody else is doing it. It's 2021, or in his case, 2015, 14 until now. It's not that expensive to fly anywhere. And you really need to get out of where you emerged on this earth. You need to get out and about and experience things outside of your immediate physical surroundings.
Well, there are some people that are legit terrified of flying.
I hate flying, but
no, there's a difference between not enjoying the experience.
No,
my favorite Onion article was John Madden surprised to find that airplanes are equally terrified of him. John Madden, famous football commentator, refused to fly. He bust everywhere he went when he was commentating. He refused to fly.
I miss him.
Terrified of planes.
I miss him so much.
I'm gonna see if I can check our time. It doesn't seem like that's.
We're probably got about 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, well, I think we hit most of those. I want to thank you guys. The proper etiquette from Shahira Rabba, and then you start. So being able to eat in a nice setting is also an important one. There's some people I know that I would not want to go out to a nice place with because of the manner in which they eat, which is not good.
Most important is to chew audibly so that everyone knows that you're enjoying your food.
Mm-hmm. And make guttural noises.
Oh boy.
The deeper, the better.
Yes.
I think that's okay if you're in China, maybe, but not in the U.S. On that note, though, guys, I want to thank you guys. Kyle Lehman's got one more. We'll let Rosh throw that in there. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys in the comments tonight. That was really cool. I appreciate you all being here. TikToks from Let Love Rain. Is James a mixologist? Would we call you a mixologist or just a simpleton bartender?
He's a simpleton in a lot of other ways.
Yeah.
I don't know, a bartender. He's pretty decent there. Conversation.
Yeah, sometimes I should be wearing a helmet.
Actually, I think mixologist is better than bartender. Bartenders are known for their ability to hold conversation. James can make drinks.
Yeah.
We're going to get cut off. Kyle Lehman.
One thing I really wanted to do when I was training bartenders is bring in a helmet for them. So that way, yeah, sorry, this guy's training. We don't want him to hurt himself.
All right. On that note, thank you guys for joining. Make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on the audio podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else you can get podcasts. And Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you want to hear about. Thank you, David. Thank you, James. Thank you to Rosh Caleb in the background, who is feeding us your comments. Without them, we wouldn't have any idea what you're saying. Adios, guys.
Cheers.
See ya.
Hasta luego.
All right, that concludes that episode. I'm still at this red light, so thank you guys for joining. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like this podcast episode.
I like PBR. I just got priced out of it.